Hey everybody, it's Clint Powell, and today's episode is brought to you by two great sponsors. One is my friends at JB Millworks. Jeremy Price and his staff do wonderful work. I'm going to tell you how to get a hold of them first. jbmillworks.com, or you can call them at 706-965-6940. And then I'm going to tell you why. You ready? They have great products. They have doors, they have stair parts, trim work, anything you're wanting for remodel or new construction. But they also have beautiful plantation shutters. Make your house look gorgeous. And high quality, energy saving, gorgeous, beautiful sun-clad windows. I know a little bit about sun-clad windows. I know the owner of the company, Frank Anderson, and I'm telling you right now, if you have a home and you're wanting to get the best of both worlds, high energy savings and yet a beautiful wood look on the interior, it is gorgeous inside and outside wood-clad windows from Sun Windows. jbmillworks.com or 706-965-6940. Also, a sponsor of today's episode is Lori Monteith with Keller Williams, or as she is known on Facebook and Google, Team Monteith. Lori started in the real estate industry back when everybody was getting out of it with the great economic downturn. She made the most of it. She pulled through. She does business the right way. And in a world where there's all these multiple offers, houses are not staying on the market long, you're wanting to move or you're wanting to sell, you need someone who has a track record of getting things done. Find out more about her. Team Monteith is on Facebook. You can also Google Lori Monteith, but you can call them at 315-0042, 423-315-0042, or you can find out more at findchattanoogarealestate.com. Enjoy today's episode. Hey folks, Clint Powell here. This is During the Break. Let's do this. Welcome to During the Break podcast. I'm your host, Clint Powell. Thank you for finding us. Do what I always ask you to do. Rate us, review us, share us, all those things that help us grow the podcast. My guest today is my monthly visit with the owner of Nutrition World, the host of Vital Health Radio, and the owner of the Holistic Navigator, Ed Jones. Ed, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well considering running at the speed of light this week. I've been on TV yesterday, TV tomorrow, a podcast already this morning, and here we are.
Well, and I was thinking about this. You were a guest on Dayfire podcast I do with Dawson Wheeler, and it's more of a focus on the outdoors, but especially on the competitive side. Loved having you as a guest there. And then I filled in on the Vital Health Radio when Dr. Green was gone, me and Sean Whitfield. And now we're doing this. And then the time you came on before, it was with your daughter. So in the last 45 days, we've done 4 or 5 different media events. And so I feel like we've talked about everything. But here's what I thought we would do. We did this about a month and a half ago where I just kind of pulled up Vital Health Radio, then the Holistic Navigator podcast.com website, and nutritionw.com. And I just kind of went through some highlights because you're always posting content. So I thought today we would kind of catch up on some content. But before we do, there are 2 websites you brought up when you were on with Dayfire podcast with me and Dawson Wheeler that were kind of geared around not just athletes, but just if you're wanting to know more about your overall health. Now, one had to do with blood work, and the other one had to do with foods and how it interacts with you. Can you tell people what those websites are and why they should care? Because I thought they were very cool. I just can't remember them.
Well, again, I continue to journey into my whole life with the goal of educating the public and as far as health. In fact, yesterday I was on TV and we're talking about what does a woman who thinks they want to get pregnant or is pregnant, where should they get their advice on nutrition? And I know I'm sidelining here slightly, but 2 minutes before the TV started, I came up with this analogy because it seemed like the older I get, the more I just kind of fall back into intuition rather than hard thinking. Well, what's happening, and I know I've talked to my daughter Katie, who's expecting in 3 weeks, and she's like the expert on prenatal nutrition. The people who are not the experts are generally the conventionally trained physicians and healthcare people. But the problem is people worship their word to a point that they would literally do anything these people said without questioning. And I use this analogy. What if something happened to your cell phone, Clint, and you had to go get a new one, and you walked into Verizon and all they could show you was flip phones? How long would you continue to be their customer? Not long. You would go find another vendor who was more on the cutting edge with the latest and greatest. Well, that's what's happening in today's healthcare field. These people who put down nutritional supplements don't agree with all these things like we talk about, the keto diet, this diet, different ways to enhance your health. They're still living back in the 15 years ago era. And it's sad because, you know what, if we're dealing with hormones like you and I, or just energy, those are not life-threatening. But when you deal with a pregnant woman and you're telling them to take a over-the-counter prenatal that has folic acid, talc powder, red dyes, and all this really horrendously poor quality ingredients, there is no excuse to me. So, saying all of that, for people who want to manage their health by being a partner, not looking for the superstar, partnering with whoever you trust, there is 2 websites that I really appreciate sharing, one of which is for blood work. In fact, Katie and I were talking on the podcast earlier today on prenatal, the importance of vitamin D for the developing infant. 50% less preeclampsia if a woman has adequate D, far better weight of the baby, and so many other factors play a role in the proper vitamin D. Well, how do you know if you don't have the right amount? Let's see, I could ask my doctor. Well, that's a 50% deal because half of them will not test you. So what we want to do is empower people. So if they or you go to the Holistic Navigator under products, you scroll down to direct labs. Guess what? You can order any test your doctor can order themselves. You can do. All you do is go in and put in your information, order the test that you desire. They send you a requisition signed by a physician in 2 hours. You take that down to the local lab, which is on Holtzclaw, I do believe, and you get blood. 2 days later, you get the results back. If a woman out there is listening and wants to know whether their vitamin D is adequate and they're wanting to be pregnant, please get your vitamin D checked on this before you get pregnant. A guy like you and me, we want to know our testosterone levels or any levels, lipid levels, blank level, whatever. Then you can still go to your conventional physician if you want, because you need people to help you with this journey.
Is there a blood test? Let's say you're taking a 51-year-old guy. Is there a test that's more of a wide scope that you would suggest for people if you're not either pregnant or extremes? Just a general test saying this is a good general blood test that includes these things. Is there something out there like that?
Yeah, Direct Labs puts it together so well and so easy. They have a men's panel and a women's panel. That's great. You can do it. Now, you can take blood work as far as the moon if you want, as far as interpretation. And you would be wise to find people who are very skilled in this arena, because it's not about just diagnosing disease. It's about focusing on aging, inflammation, all the things that's going to create disease. We can stop it and slow it if we know what's happening. And I say it constantly. It's a whole hell of a lot easier to keep a horse in the corral than go round it up if you leave the gate open. And everybody mostly is leaving the gate open. When people go get a physical, believe it or not, you're getting the equivalent of a $12 blood test on a physical. I don't understand that. We need to be checking $100 worth of stuff.
Especially when you're doing it once a year.
Especially once a year.
Because things change so much. But the other test, and you'll know the website, was about how food interacts with you. What's the name of that website? It's
called Viome.com, Viome.com. It's a most interesting test. I did it myself. I don't talk about many things unless I do them. I am the self-appointed guinea pig of this city, and I really love this test. What it's going to do is it's not pleasant to do it. You've got to collect some of your stool. So grow up, boys and girls, and just, make it as easy as possible.
It's disgusting.
I'm not even going to make comments about it. That's
my job. You're the professional. I'll be the goofball.
So, in fact, I did it at Starbucks, just believe it or not. So, just to let something out here that's really secret.
Side note, he can't ever go back to Starbucks. Way to go.
I did pick up all the pieces of the puzzle and I put it in the garbage. But you collect your stool, and then about 4 weeks later, you're going to get this email. And what they've done is they've looked at the microbiome, but they've done it in a way where they're doing a testing to see what foods are basically your friends, which ones are neutral, and which ones are your enemies. And they do this through a very exotic new science of analyzing. What it showed me was that I have some foods that I thought were my enemies that really aren't. And I have foods that really, like green beans, I thought they were my friend, and they're actually not. When I say they're not my friend, this is what's happening. You're not allergic to them, but you are sensitive to them. What does that mean? It means your body doesn't particularly like it, and so it's having to fight with it. Every time you fight with something, you're
It's not peaceful.
No, it's not peaceful. It's not harmonious. It's not in a rhythm of health. And so when you fight something, I know you fight. Do you get tired after fighting, Clint?
I get fired thinking about fighting.
Well,
right
so just think if your body does this 24 hours a day with every freaking piece of food you eat, you're never going to feel optimally energetic because you're using too much of your energy to fight your green beans. Other foods, black beans, I thought were my enemy, but they're actually my friend. Pinto beans, I thought were my friend, but they're actually my enemy. And once I cleaned up my diet based on Viome, and I still have the app on my phone where I can click on to remind myself of the foods, I'm telling you, gut issues have dropped almost to nothing. And I can't say it's life-changing, but I do believe it's part of the puzzle to create optimal health.
Well, you used the word. I was waiting to say this because the word that kept coming up in the Dayfire podcast and the word you use a lot at the Holistic Navigator, both of these websites help you as the consumer, the patient, just live the optimal life. It's the quality of life. Yes, you may not have a bad health life. You may have great joints. You may but it may not be as good as you know it could be because you've not tried. In other words, you may not have any problems that are red flags for you right now, but until you at least check these things out, you don't know how good it actually could be. So I think that's fascinating. That's why I wanted to bring those two sites up.
Well, and what's happened is the norm in this country is accepted, and what's accepted is basically poor health, not disease. If you look at a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being optimal health, 0 being dead, most of us live in the range of about 40 to 70. And that means that you're not doing as well on your mental energy, your sleep, your libido, your stamina, your thinking ability. All these things will suffer if you're not near the optimal range. So, and that's tough. And don't expect your regular conventional physician to help you to optimal. They're great at helping diagnose disease. We need them. I know we have a broken system. They can't help. They're working in a broken system.
Hey, folks, don't forget this episode is brought to you by JB Millworks, jbmillworks.com. I look at this as almost with the apps on your phone. It's not that one app will kill the energy, but when you get 6 or 7 different apps that are pulling a little bit here and there, you can look at your settings and your battery life may not be optimized. Why? Because you've left 7 apps open. You've left 7 things unaddressed. And so one in themselves, it may not be horrible, but you start opening up 7, 8, 10 avenues where life is pulling from your system and you're not taking care of that to replenish, then all of a sudden you're at a deficit and you're not living the life you want.
Great analogy. In fact, I just brought up my Viome app, which I have not done in 2 to 3 months. We recommend you avoid these foods. Alfalfa sprouts.
Not a problem. Keep talking. No, let's do this. This will be fun. Okay, that's easy for me. Go ahead.
Bell peppers, organic.
Not a problem. Go for it.
Cashews.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Which I thought I was eating cashews constantly because what almost all of us do is this. It's full of nutrition. It's got good fat in it. It's got some vitamins, so it's got to be really healthy for me.
Especially by the can.
Fried in all that oil and salt.
Lots of great fat for a can of it.
Go ahead. But it doesn't matter how they're prepared. They're my enemy. I'm going to go through the list. Chickpeas, I know that's no big heartbreak for you.
I love chickpeas. I love vegetables.
Eggplant, goji berry. Lentils. Oh, I forgot. Lentils are not lentils. My food.
See, I'm a vegetable guy.
Potatoes, which I don't eat because they're nightshade. They can cause autoimmune, and they're totally
nightshade. What is that?
That means it can create aches and pains in your body.
Really?
Yeah. There's nightshades, foods like bell peppers and potatoes, and I'm telling you, there's a subclass of people who have chronic, really like almost rheumatoid-like pain in their joints. All you got to do is cut out the nightshades for 2 weeks, and sometimes it's miraculous.
What is nightshade? I mean, what other foods fall into that?
Well,
bell peppers and potatoes?
There's about 7. Tomatoes, bell peppers. I'm going by memory. We can look it up.
I'll look it up. Keep going through your list of foods that hate you.
Rhubarb, no problem for me. Sauerkraut. I don't like or dislike it, but sauerkraut's so healthy, I thought. But guess what? It's not healthy for me. Tomatoes, which I already knew. And plain yogurt. I forgot that plain yogurt is my avoid food. And I really don't eat any of these except once a week I will eat plain yogurt. And when I do eat, believe it or not, when I eat the protein bars at the store with nuts, cashews being one of them, I get brain fog within 10 minutes.
Really?
And so that's where this has really come in. Viome.com. There's the list right there.
Here's the website for nightshade vegetables. White potatoes, tomatoes, eggplant. So far, I am all in on white potatoes and eggplant. Love them. I'm not crazy about tomatoes, except for ketchup. I guess that counts. Bell peppers, cayenne pepper, and paprika.
And there's a few more, but they're not listing the whole
well, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
They also replace sweet potatoes, yams, cauliflower, and mushrooms. Those are not nightshades. They can replace them with other. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Oh, with other, non-nightshade. Yeah, those are not nightshades.
Well, that just I've never heard of nightshades. When you said that, I kind of thought you were making something up to sound smart, and now I know better. All right, so let's do this. So those are the two websites. I think that brings a lot of value to the listener. Let's just go through, and this is a good way for our listeners for us to promote your other where they can get content. Just let's touch on the Holistic Navigator. I'm at your website right now. And I'm just looking back through the month of June. Here's the topics. Prenatal vitamin supplementing while pregnant, which you just talked about a little bit. And the truth about detox, breathing the wrong way, and GERD. Here's what I want to ask you, because we're going to keep these podcasts, these monthly ones, not to, too super long. Truth about detox. What is that? Is that only in regard, was that podcast only about for pregnant women, or is this detoxing in general?
No, it's detoxing in general.
So what's the truth?
It was actually a question and answers. The first one I've done like this, I created a question, or I had questions from people, and I just answered them. The truth is that up until 10 years ago, detox was has always been modestly popular, because we all have these ideas of like, our drain in our sink gets filled up with stuff and we want to clean it out.
Right.
Well, the liver, the kidney, the this, the that. And so a lot of old timers were really into this. And of course, the really old timers would give the kids, a lot of castor oil, and that was considered detoxing. But now we have science behind it. And the science is saying that detoxing is very important because we're living in the most toxic world that we've ever had on history. Well, we have all these filters in us, which are, again, the liver and the kidneys and a few others, and they're getting overburdened with toxins.
They're getting clogged up.
And so what happens when that happens is that the poisons are actually doing more damage to us than if we could maintain a lower level. You get behind a diesel bus, Clint, and if you're what we call it, the P450 system in the liver, that's what takes every bad molecule and tries to deactivate it. When you're young, you have a really great P450 system. That's why people sometimes can overdose and they can do bad things and still survive. Well, you can't when you're 60. But this P450 system, it gets clogged up too. And so if we can detox through nutritional intervention and or other methods like dry heat saunas, other methods like intermittent fasting. But the thing is, what the confusion about detox is this: you go into any store right now in this city or others, and whether it be chain store or even many of the privately owned stores, I want a detox. Well, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get something that has hidden laxatives in it, because they know that people look in the toilet and they want to see something. They want to see something happen. That's half the reason people go to conventional medical people, because they can give them a pill that will make something happen. Doesn't mean it's good, but they can feel, see, or sense something. So taking detoxing that makes you poop is not really detoxing. I'm talking about detoxing organs, which, again, there's science to it. And in fact, there's a company called Metagenics, and anybody who Googles it, they have all the info on true detox.
People don't get this sometimes, but sweating is detoxing. That's why exercise is so important. It's not just about your muscles and staying active. It's also getting rid of the impurities. How about the feet detox? I've read these things where you can do these detox on your feet and it pulls things from your body into the water. Yes or no, or partly true?
Well, first off, we used to have those machines. We had 3. We operated them full time. I'm a person who embraces anything that's relatively safe until it's proven that it doesn't work if my logic thinks it might. Now, that's different than conventional people. Conventional people say, I want all the proof in the world before I do something. I'm not going to live long enough to get all that proof. So to hell with that philosophy. I'm jumping in the water. If I start to drown, somebody's going to pull me out.
Yeah.
Well, the foot detox, in my opinion, does not detox. However, there is no doubt there's some mechanism of action with the foot detox. I don't know what it is, whether it's altering the electrical system of the body, whether it's moving lymph fluids. I don't know, but I can tell you with absolute 100% certainty, you will feel a difference when you do the foot detox.
Is there a foot detox you can buy and do at home? Like
Sure.
What is the one you like? Is there one? Or
No,
just
there's not. You can buy them for $100 now. The machines and just
the machines. I got
you put it in the water. And
I thought it was a chemical you put in like a foot soak.
No, it's all electrical. You plug it in.
Oh wow! All right. So another podcast you had on the Holistic Navigator, breathing. We're breathing wrong.
We're breathing completely wrong. There was a physician named Dr. Buteco, and I really, really value him as one of my most admired mentors. He was in the 1960s. He's now passed away. And he was a Russian physician who literally could cure asthma and many other diseases by teaching people how to breathe. Now, I know it sounds like crazy, but most of what we're taught in this world is not correct. And all the yoga people who are doing breathing, they're actually doing it completely wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they are. And what's happening
You
is...
just ticked off every yoga person that's wearing yoga pants right now. I hate you.
They were taught something, and we're all taught things that sometimes is incorrect.
Could it be right just for yoga, or is it just wrong, period?
It's wrong to breathe that way consistently. You can do anything for an hour and be fine.
So tell us how you're supposed to breathe.
Well, first off, the reason that we're breathing wrong today, what's happening is carbon dioxide seems to have a bad label attached to it. It's not. What's happening is when we breathe too fast, or we breathe through our mouth, or we breathe to fill the chest.
Everybody out there just shut their mouth.
And so Dr. Buteco said you should breathe through your mouth as often as you eat through your nose. So I don't know when the last time you ate through your nose, Clint, but it was probably not this week. And so what we're doing is by the use of chest breathing, fast breathing, deep breathing, we are creating not enough carbon dioxide. When that happens, everything constricts. That's why people with asthma get worse and worse and worse. Dr. Buteco taught people how to basically not have to take any medicine with asthma, and it is tough. I have actually gone through the Buteco protocol. I had a teacher come, and we worked every week for many, many weeks. You talking about trying to break a habit. The breathing habit is so instilled that it's almost impossible unless you go to college to learn this.
Is it belly breathing?
You belly breathe below the diaphragm, but you really should only be breathing 8 to 10 times a minute. You actually do something that I came up with a name, intermittent breathing. We have to have air hunger. Air hunger is healthy for us. And when that happens, carbon dioxide raises, your anxiety will go down, and it can help sleep at night if you learn to do this. But in order to reprogram, you have to work at it like you would a college class.
I'm sitting here while you're talking, started breathing through my belly, and I'm just trying to see, that's basically breathing once every 10 seconds.
Yes, it is.
That's not easy all the time.
The thing is, if you are anxious, you do this for 3 minutes and you will be far less anxious.
So your belly's out, you're relaxed.
You let the belly relax. You don't worry that it's going to look like you're fat, because a lot of us breathe chest-wise because we don't want to look like we have a belly. But it's wrong. It's incorrect as far as optimal health. The thing is, and Dr. Buteco said this, there are animals on Earth that if you crushed their nose like a zebra and other animals, and they can't breathe through their nose, they will be dead in 2 weeks. 2 weeks because they're mouth breathing, because they differed the ratio between oxygen and carbon dioxide. So Buteco is a cool thing to pursue for optimal health. Last thing I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last 2 things. If you go to the Holistic Navigator on the website, I have an ebook that you can get free. And one of the 3 tips that I wrote about in this ebook, very short, is on this breathing. I tell you a little bit more about the details. Lastly, when is it impossible, and I've spoken of this before, when is it impossible for you to alter your mouth breathing? When you are asleep at night. So again, you know what I do. I think I've told you. Haven't I?
I think so.
Well, I tape my mouth shut.
Oh, yeah, no,
night.
you've told me that because I made fun of you last time.
You have to tape your mouth shut. If not, then all your work during the day is kind of negated. So we have to learn to breathe through our nose at night.
What kind of tape do you use?
It's special. We sell it at Nutrition World.
Oh, you're not. It's a real special tape. Just
it's
for
special.
This.
You can't put Scotch tape on or duct tape.
Duct tape, man. Duct tape will hold anything together, man. I'm from East Ridge.
Well, there are people that we would certainly like to do that to, but it's not good for us. And it does hurt when you pull it off your mustache and your lips.
Especially your mustache. You got one of those old Marcus of Queensberry rules boxing mustaches.
Hey,
I like that.
I've got a contest August 3rd down at Southside Social.
Are you entering it?
Yes, I am.
Are you going to... have you checked out any competition? For those of you who are listening and go, I've never seen Ed Jones, go to Nutrition World's, nutritionw.com or the Holistic Navigator. Check out his mustache, and you'll see what we're talking about. It's the handlebar with the roll up at the end, old school. So something like you'd see on a barber, kind of thing.
Well, I don't know how long it's going to last. I've had it for 5 months, and it's actually not on the Holistic Navigator yet.
Oh,
it's the old photo before I had the mustache.
Oh, well, we'll have to find it out. I'll put it on during the break.
July 1st. Well, I ordered some new wax that's supposed to be here at 2:00 today.
Okay.
So I'm having a bad mustache day. So with no photos yet.
Oh, I'll just find a good one of you. So there's the Southside Social. You're entering it
August 3rd. Yeah. And it's a fundraiser for
what are you fundraising for?
It's the Chattanooga Beard Company. I think that's the name.
That's the name of the company, yeah.
Over here off of near Airport Road.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
His name's Matt. Just a super guy. He has a young child who needs a van because he's disabled. And so we're actually raising money for this kid. And
that's cool.
And that's there it is. Cool. Chattanooga Beard Company. I love Matt. And there's my man right there.
That's a beard right there.
And
look at that.
He trims mine and he helps me with advice and things like that. So we're partnering with him, and
we got to get him on a podcast, man.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about beards.
Oh man, that
would be fun.
You got to do that. I mean, I don't need to be included.
No. You know him.
Well,
we got to get you in here. I've got a small beard. You have the mustache. I got a buddy that I'll show you right now. It's going for pro boxing that has a great beard. We got to have a beard talk.
Yeah. Oh,
look at this. He's got all kinds of products.
He's going worldwide with these products. And the thing is, that's cool about him, I didn't know who he was. He came, when I first found him,
right?
I went to him and he said that how he was doing a lot better. He's got a lot more business now. He actually sells to Ace Hardware and things, all this stuff. He said, you know where I bought all my original products, ingredients? I said, no. He said, Nutrition World. I said, you're kidding me.
That's a perfect combination. We got to have a podcast. I think we've digressed now. Okay. Hey, folks, don't forget, this episode is also brought to you by Team Monteith with Keller Williams. Find ChattanoogaRealEstate.com. All right, let's talk about two other quick things. And shout out to the Chattanooga Beard Company. That is killer stuff. I'm back to nutritionw.com, and I went to, where's your resources? I think this is it right here. Or maybe it was the library. Anyway, I thought you had more than this. I thought you had a couple other Direct Labs. Where was it?
What kind of stuff you looking for?
Well, when we came in, there was you had a website with 4 or 5 logos they had Direct Labs, but they had 4 or 5 other logos other than these. And I was going to ask you about those and see what each of them meant, but apparently I can't find it now, so it's okay. I'll find it here in a minute. We'll come back to it. Let's see. Our story, our membership, the wellness. Oh, the wellness corner. How's that going? Aren't you about to fire that bad boy up?
Yeah, 6 weeks. We will be open with another 6 practitioners in the new building back where Summit Piano burned. We are remodeling and pulling my hair out every other day, but it's going to get done one way or the other.
We were at lunch the other day. I was at lunch with Pryor Bacon, the guy that's working with you on that, and you walked by, and I could tell between the two of you, it's been a process.
It has been more so for me than him, but he has been just a gentleman to me.
He's a good guy.
And I really, really appreciated that.
He's a good dude.
So is his buddy Lamar. They've been really taking good care of me. But it's going to be state of the art. You just wait, Clint. When you walk in this new building, you're going to think you're in New York City. And we have a nurse practitioner who practices functional medicine.
But are people going to be nicer than in New York City? They'll be like Southern sweet.
I think you're right.
Okay.
If not, I will kick them out.
You kick them out and start over. Hey, let's do this. Let's go to something I saw the other day that our buddy Sean Whitfield reposted and said you were talking to me about donuts. Was there a 45-second rant you did on social media about donuts?
It was about 44 seconds.
Well, why do you hate donuts so much?
Well, we were talking, and I don't remember the actual start of the conversation, but I self-feed myself.
Yeah.
It was the first time I've done that sitting here, and it happened that like 2 days ago, I went back and I thought, that's pretty cool. 44 seconds of trashing the quality and the dangers of donuts. And now, again, I'm not you could see me drink a tequila. You could see me eat a piece of cake. I'm not eating a donut. But the reason donuts are so horrendously terrible is because there's, you can take an unhealthy food and there's usually one redeeming value to it.
Right.
It might have a little fiber. It might have a nutrient. It might have, donuts have nothing.
I think I know where you're heading with this.
And not only that, they are addicting because the way that they combine the sugar and the fat that is basically synthetic fat, it does create almost a drug. That's why the more you eat, the more you want.
I'm telling you right now, it's a drug.
Yeah.
I have issues with donuts. They're so good. Here's the page I found, and it wasn't through nutritionw.com, and it wasn't off vitalhealthradio.com. It was off the Holistic Navigator.com. So if you go to recommended products, let's wrap it up with going over these real quick.
The thing is, Vital Choice is a company that I found that you can order true wild-caught seafood. Now, you can find it locally. I don't know if you can always trust it, but on this company you can, called Vital Choice. It's, again, under their Holistic Navigator product page, and they just ship it to you. Yes, it's not super cheap, but nothing of that quality will be. But for those people who want the best of the best and can't go and look all the time, get it from Vital Choice. And then, of course, Zunta Bar is the protein food bar that I formulated about 3 years ago, and it's the cleanest protein bar that I know of on the market. Most protein bars are, again, a mixture of really good stuff and really not so good stuff. This one has none of the not really good stuff in it, and Zunta Bar is amazing taste. So, it's at Nutrition World, of course. Direct Labs we've talked about. Yep. Any blood test you want, you go to Direct Labs and you get it. Thorne Home Test Kits. I love empowering people. Thorne, you can buy test kits for heavy metals. You can buy test kits for testosterone. You can buy test kits for sleep, for fertility, and there's saliva. And so you will do saliva gathering, and then you'll send it off. 2 weeks later, you get this really easy to read report from Thorne.
I'm always worried about doing like the Me23 or the genetic things. I'm giving my DNA out to people, and it's going to come out later at some homicide site, when the government conspiracy theories trying to frame you, and all of a sudden, Clint Powell, you were here. It's not true, but I'm always worried about giving my DNA over, but I shouldn't be. Everybody's doing it now. So.
Well, you shouldn't, and it is, I think, very well protected. I have done the 23andMe.
I just threw a conspiracy theory out there. I probably shouldn't have done that.
You got more to worry about than that. Let me tell you, donuts are far more worrisome than 23andMe. And I'm a big fan of 23andMe, so I would recommend it because it's reasonably priced. And on 23andMe, they've been fighting with the government off and on forever. And so things change from time to time, but they have a test in that called MTHFR that everyone needs to know.
Wow, what is that?
It is the gene that, again, while we don't recommend folic acid to pregnant women, it causes miscarriages and all these bad things. Well, guess what? It causes in men depression and anxiety and
folic acid?
Folic acid is synthetic. If you have an MTHFR gene, if you don't have the gene, folic acid is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. And see, folic acid's actually in a donut.
Stop it.
They did. They added it to a donut.
My question is, let's say I don't do the test. Is there, I don't know. I was going to ask, is there a way to eat the foods and be able to tell by the reaction to them? Okay.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. And then the last one is Center for Advanced Medicine. I do not know this person personally, but I have so many clients who have been diagnosed with cancer, and they do not want the conventional treatments that are done that are very harsh, as we all know.
Right.
So this doc in Atlanta combines both. It combines the world of my world and the world of traditional oncology, but he does it in a far more gentle way. So the Center for Advanced Medicine seems to be a really good choice to look at.
You skipped over the one there on the bottom.
And light therapy.
You don't have to. I didn't want to bring it up.
No, I love light therapy. Light therapy is, of course, in the summer we don't need it. In the winter, that's what's keeping us from being depressed is the sun. And it's not the vitamin D that does it. It's the way it regulates the brain chemicals. And so I have one of these lights. In the winter, I'll turn it on about 40 minutes a day.
Wow.
Sits on my office, and I'm telling you, within 3 days, you can start feeling the sense of well-being come back if you're sinking.
Before we wrap up, we didn't spend as much time on the website for Vital Health Radio. Any cool topics that you've talked about with Dr. Green lately?
Well, we actually, coming up very soon, we talked to Dr. Resnick, who is a local physician doing functional medicine, but he's moving as of next week. It was a wonderful lecture on women's health. And why are women bleeding excessively? Why are they having hormone difficulties? And what are the better options to fix it? Again, conventional recommendations for most women is this. Let's just cut it all out.
Right.
You don't need that stuff anyway. Let's just do surgery. When do you want to schedule it? Wait till you hear what Dr. Resnick said about that. Just it's eye-opening.
If you're listening to this podcast and these are evergreen, so you don't know when you're listening, you can just go to vitalhealthradio.com and scroll back and figure out what episode he was talking about, because they're all labeled on the website. They're all labeled on
It does take a few weeks after the show to get it on the website. But, of course, that'll be this Sunday, or it will be every Sunday at 9 a.m. is when it's on. Yep. I will have to say I'm trying a new supplement here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's a new company we have called Natural Stacks. It's called acetylcholine brain food. And my daughter Katie said, and she's never wanted to say, Dad, you need to try this. So I took 2 of these yesterday morning and 2 at lunch. And I'm telling you, my brain is clicking like it should be clicking. I'm going to give you about 4 of these pills, Clint. And I want you to take them on.
Can I take that? I should not eat a donut before I take these pills. Now it's just a funny thing. He's pissed at me now. Ed Jones is mad. But so when you say your brain's clicking, is it an energy feeling or is it a clarity?
It's a clarity.
Okay, cool.
Just a quick thinking clarity.
That's cool. And then it is also time for me to come get my CBD oil. I'm out. I've been out for 2 weeks. I'm dying. I get paid though, so I might be able to come get them. Yeah.
We have a new brand by Garden of Life that I'm using that is dang good.
Okay, well, good then. That means when this is over, I'll come spend some money with you.
Or we also have a great brand that's local now, Hill City Hemp, that was my second love of my life, and as far as CBD, and it's good price, and I love the Hill City Hemp. I met the guy. I mean, we're talking top of the game for quality and knowledge.
Well, just so everybody listening, Ed has a guy at his store, and one of his main jobs is to test, research, and make sure that the CBD stuff they use is clean and effective, and it's good. It's not just something that you can buy on the street corners. Are you almost e-commerce friendly?
Yeah, we're going to be e-commerce in end of August, so It's not quite yet.
It's coming, though.
But it's coming. And I also do have a new website that's going to be launched in a week called the CBDguide.com. It will not sell any products. It's going to rate and review and post lab tests for all the companies. Yesterday alone, Seth gathered 500 companies. We can gather 500 a day. I don't know when we'll run out, but it's going into the thousands of companies, and none of these are being monitored. You have no clue.
When we get off the air here, when I click in, there's 2 people locally that have hemp farms I'm going to tell you about.
Okay.
That surprised me. Didn't know they were doing it.
Yeah, it's all
Didn't
over.
know they were doing it. It is. It's all over. Hey, thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you, my friend.
Be sure to check out Ed at theholisticnavigator.com, vitalhealthradio.com, and nutritionw.com. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening to During the Break. If you like this episode, share it with your friends. If you have a few minutes, please rate and review the podcast on iTunes to help us reach a larger audience. Also, like our Facebook page and check out our website, duringthebreakpodcast.com. If I haven't asked too much already, join us again next time on During the Break.